where we focus our training, since core competencies includes the units of competency that would actually provide you the skills, the knowledge, and the attitude needed to become a bookkeeper. Okay? So basic competencies actually includes leading small teams, and it also includes disseminating information in the workplace, and so on and so forth. While the common competencies includes applying quality standards in your work, and also applying negotiation and problem-solving techniques, among others. Let's now dissect core competencies, what it includes, so we can isolate it, so we can study it further. Oh, by the way, the total number of hours is 292 hours, or 37 days. Okay. So what are the core competencies? Now, the core competencies actually consist of units of competency that covers the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes required to become competent as a bookkeeper. Now, the first unit of competency would be journalized transactions. Now, journalized transactions means logging or recording transactions in the journal. Number 2 unit of competency is post transactions. This is actually posting transactions manually to the ledger. Now, it is manual because we don't use accounting software. And number 3 competency is to prepare trial balance. This is the listing of account titles and transferring balances from the ledger to the trial balance. And number 4 is preparing financial reports like income statement, balance sheet, and cash flow. And this is also done manually. And the last is the review internal control system. It is reviewing and determining the extent of compliance. Okay? So any questions? Okay, very good. So moving on, what are the benefits of this training? Now, a trainee who has achieved this qualification is competent to be a bookkeeper or an accounting clerk. Now, further benefits would include this one. Now, I have prepared a diagram on the bookkeeping salary distribution in the Philippines. Now, we all know that the Philippines doesn't have actually a very good, salary. And we can accept that because it's a reality. However, for the minimum salary as a entry-level bookkeeper is 10,782 pesos per month, and the highest level would be 40,497 pesos. This is based on studies, and this is also depending on your experiences over the years. However, if I show you the salary bracket of an accounting assistant or bookkeeper in Saudi Arabia, you will be amazed that the minimum salary, the entry level of a bookkeeper in Saudi Arabia is 4,068 Saudi Arabian riyal. And that is actually equivalent to around 55,000 pesos. You can just imagine that. So I would actually encourage you to look for a job in Saudi Arabia after you finish your training. And the maximum salary is 15,278 riyal. So that's equivalent to 100 plus pesos. Okay? But if you decide to stay here in the Philippines, you can actually look for a virtual job as a bookkeeper. And the minimum rate is actually $18 per hour. And it could go as high as $50 per hour. So you can just imagine the earnings that you would get if you go online, working as a virtual bookkeeper. Okay? So, perhaps you would ask yourself, what is TESDA training? Is it pure lecture? Well, good news. I have good news for you because TESDA doesn't believe in pure lecture. As a matter of fact, it created its own training system that is very, very effective in learning competencies. And they call it CBT, or competency-based training. Now, competency-based training is a training delivery approach that focuses on the competency development of the learner as a result of the training. So this means that this training actually teaches you how to develop your competency, how to gain skills and knowledge to be a good bookkeeper. Also, it emphasizes on what the learner can actually do, and it focuses on outcomes rather than the learning process. And lastly, it is concerned with the attainment and application of the knowledge, skills, and attitude to a specific level of competency. So competency-based training is not only pure lecture. It's not only theory. It also involves the application of the theory so that you can learn the skills necessary once you go out of the field and find a job as a bookkeeper. You can hit the ground running. Unlike if you are in traditional schools, it's all pure theories. Okay? So, since we have competency-based training, we also have principles of CBT. Now, this is the guiding principles of competency-based training. Number one, training delivery is individualized and self-paced. What this means is that learning, what this means is that you learn on your own according to the rate of learning you are comfortable with. Now, for example, if you're a slow learner, because maybe perhaps you are very deliberate and you want to absorb everything first, then that's fine. You are still welcome in CBT because you can learn at your own pace. However, if you are a fast learner, then well and good. You can go ahead and finish early. So regardless if you are slow or fast learner, you are still very much welcome in CBT. Now, unlike in traditional learning, in traditional learning, the instructor controls the pace of learning. So you have to keep up with the instructor whether you like it or not. So this is a disadvantage to slow learner. But in CBT, or competency-based training, you progress at your own rate. It is the learning process that adjusts to you, not the other way around. So this is one of the beauty of CBT. Okay? So training number 2 is modular in its structure. The training is done by modules. So for example, a trainee, after he has done with module 1, can move on to the next module. So it is a step-by-step process, and it is very organized and logical. So this is how you learn a skill, organized and very structured. Now, if you could compare this to traditional learning, traditional learning, actually, all the students proceed from one topic to the next at the same time. But in CBT, each trainee can immediately move on to the next task after he or she has mastered the task that he is currently working on. So a trainee doesn't have to wait for the others to move on to the next module. So this is very, very, very convenient for the trainee. Number 3, training program allows for recognition of prior learning or competencies. Now, if you have current competencies that you acquired from previous training, or from employment, or from life experience itself, TestDel will recognize that and acknowledge that, so that you won't have to do the learning activities of the current competencies that you currently have. So that means you save time, money, and effort. This is one good thing also about tested training. Number 4, training allows for multiple entry and exit. So this means that you don't have to wait for others, to be competent before you can exit either from a competency or the qualification. And fast learners may graduate faster than the others. But in traditional learning, students enter at about the same time. Like, for example, first semester around June, and it would end the following year in March. But in CBT, you can enter and exit your training anytime you want. So it's also very convenient. And lastly, training is based on work that must be performed. Training in CBT is always based on industry practices. So what you learn here are actually the skills that are already used in the workplace. So once you finish your training, excuse me, you don't have to make any adjustments anymore, when you go out and find work outside. Because what you learn here is exactly the same skills that is already used in the workplace. Okay? So any questions? Very good. So if you have this competency-based training, we also have what we call the competency-based learning material. So CBLM is actually a well-designed, carefully developed learning materials that give detailed instructions to guide the trainee through the learning process. And it contains the information of the knowledge, the skills, and attitude that trainee needs to acquire in order to be competent in his or her qualification. In other words, CBLM is actually your textbook, your workbook, and your learning book all rolled into one. Okay? So this is what we use to gain the knowledge and skills and attitudes regarding the competencies that we need to learn for this qualification. Now let's go ahead and look at the parts of the competency-based learning. Now there are many parts of the competency-based learning, but we will only tackle the most important ones that is mostly commonly referred to or used. Number 1 is the information sheet. The information sheet actually contains the information and learning activities that is needed. Learning competencies that is needed to the acquisition of knowledge contents. And the next one would be the self-checks. The self-checks actually contains a set of questions that would verify the acquisition of knowledge stated in the information sheet or the learning objectives. And the next one would be the self-check answer keys. Now this actually contains all the answers to the questions found in the self-checks. So this is very effective feedback tool because you can actually compare your own answers to the answer keys to know if you have indeed understood what you have read in the information sheet and the questions in the self-checks. And the next one would be the task, operation, and job sheet. No? Okay. So, learning activities found in the information sheet actually would need steps, procedures. No? Procedures which a trainee could follow to obtain a specific task or skill. No? So that's why we have the task sheet. The task sheet are actually a set of instructions telling the trainee to perform a single task. And we also have the operation sheet. The operation sheet is also a set of instructions for the performance or use of a particular machine or equipment. And lastly, we have the job sheet. The job sheet also contains a set of instructions for the performance of a combination of task and operation needed to develop a product or a performance of a service or a combination of both. And lastly, we have the performance criteria checklist. Now, this is the checklist that I will use to evaluate your performance, and you can also use this checklist to evaluate your own performance. Okay, so any questions? None? Okay, very good. So moving on, we also have the training methods that we will use for CBT. One is the modular self-paced. 2 is through demonstration. 3, mentoring, and 4, video presentation. Now, what are the assessment methods that we are going to use for this training? Number 1 would be written examination. Number 2, demonstration or questioning. And number 3 is the performance criteria checklist. Now, this is the performance criteria checklist that we discussed earlier, which is found in your CBLF. So if we have methods, training methods, assessment methods, we also have the types of rating to evaluate you. Number 1 is C for competent, and number 2 is MYC for not yet competent. Okay? So, you will be rated as C or competent if you have fully satisfied all the competency requirements of a particular unit of competency. For NYC or not yet competent, that means you have missed to fully satisfy the criteria, the performance criteria that you have to meet. Okay? So moving forward, after all that we discussed regarding the training, what is then your role as a trainee? So as a trainee, you need to be proactive, because this is a self-paced learning. It is an individualized learning. So you have to take initiative to learn on your own. 2, you also have to be responsible, because you have to take full responsibility of your learning. And you have also to be independent, because no one will actually, spoon feed you, not even me as your trainer. So you have to be independent and learning on your own. And lastly, you have to be confident with a can-do attitude. Because confidence, as we say, embracing confidence can lead to abundant life. And on the other hand, my role as a trainer is just to be a facilitator by providing you the correct training methods the correct training materials. And I will be here to guide you and, to direct you to the right path, in this learning process. And I will also motivate you by providing you positive feedback whenever you have accomplished, a competency. And I will also evaluate your performance using the performance criteria checklist. Okay. So this is the CBT workshop layout. This is actually the entire room that we are in right now. Now CBT has also been developed because Tesla believes that the venue for training is also very important in acquiring the necessary skills or competencies. Okay? So later on we'll go ahead and take a tour of this facility. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a tour to our facility. Now here we have the trainer's resource area. This is actually where I hold office. And this is where I keep the training materials, the competency-based curriculum, and the training regulations. Now here we have the computer laboratory. Now this is where you gain the appropriate IT competencies like Word and Excel. Okay. Now if you notice, this is the progress chart. This is the list of all the learning outcomes and the units of competency. So once you have accomplished and fully satisfied the assessment criteria for our unit of competency, you will be asked to check a particular unit of learning or activities. Just to, so we can record your progress. In the same way, the achievement chart, you would also make a check once you have achieved a unit of competency. Okay? So, moving on, the distance learning area is actually located in our partner institution or industry partners, especially when you go out to our learning partner institutions to further enhance your competency learning. Okay. And we also have our learning resource area. This area actually provides you the knowledge requirements of all the modules responding to your competency. We also have the textual area. This is an area where you learn the underpinning knowledge, science, mathematics, and communication principles applied to technology. Also, we have the support area where you can find the segregated waste baskets, the fire extinguishers, and the first aid cabinet. Okay. And of course, the quality control area. This is where you test and check the quality of your output. Okay. And lastly, we have the institutional assessment area. This is the area where we recognize your prior learning. And this is also the area where Miss B and the staff will and this is also where we will do your assessment of your competencies and the giving of the certificate of achievement. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay, very good. So let's all take a break. Then after we come back from the break, I will discuss with you the pre-assessment and the recognition of prior learning. Okay? So 15-minute break. Oh, by the way, the canteen is downstairs. So after 15-minute break. So welcome back. I hope you have a I hope you enjoyed your break. Okay. Now, we are doing the pre-assessment right now, and the pre-assessment is actually a very important part of CPT because it is critical in the identification of your training needs and training methods for each one of you. Now, for the pre-assessment, we will determine your characteristics. Why? Because we want to know your learning styles, your capabilities, your aptitudes, your educational and cultural background. The reason being because this will help me select the right training methods and the appropriate training materials that you would use for each one of you. Because each one of you is different, each one of you has different learning materials. So we will acknowledge that and we will give you the right training materials and the training methods for you so that you can learn better. Okay? So to determine your training characteristics, I need you to fill this out, the data gathering instrument. Now this will only take 20 minutes so that we will be able to know your characteristics. Okay? 20 minutes. So 20 minutes time is up. Okay, thank you very much. So I will evaluate this later. And the next one is the self-assessment check. Now, this will identify your current competencies so that we will be able to recognize your prior learning so that you don't have to go through the same activities that you already know. Okay? So this will also take 20 minutes for you to fill out. Okay, thank you very much. We'll also evaluate this later. So I have already evaluated your data gathering instrument and self-assessment check. And I see here that training number 1 has actually an experience working as an accountant staff, correct? Okay, very good. So training number 1, do you have a employment certificate with you? Okay. Could you bring it tomorrow? Okay, that's very good. Okay, and training number 2, since this is your first time and you have no experience yet, then I would want to welcome you because I'm sure you would learn a lot from this training. Okay? So I guess that's all for today, and thank you very much for coming, and I hope to see you tomorrow. So thank you and have a good day. So day 1 of the start. Day 2. So good morning, trainees. Welcome back again to SMI. So today we will be having a lot of activities. First off, we will do a recognition of prior learning, and we will also start our activities for this qualification in order to gain competencies as a good bookkeeper. Now, I would like to call on training number 1. Please proceed to the assessment area because I will be giving you a written exam. Okay? Please wait for me on the assessment area. And for training number 2, you can refer the training activity or the training activity matrix and look for your name. And I think you are instructed to go to the learning resource area and get a CPLM and read information sheet 1.1-1, and after that just finish the succeeding pages like the subject, the answer keys, and the performance criteria checklist. And I will join you in a little while. So, candidate number 1, how are you feeling today? Okay, very good. So I will be giving you a written exam so that I will be able to assess your current competencies. This will take around 30 minutes. Okay. So training number 2, how are you doing? Okay, so I will just leave you there for a while. You are given 1 hour to finish your assignment today, okay? So training number 1, are you done? Okay, very good. Let me just evaluate the result of your written exam. Very good. So training number 1, congratulations. You have actually fully satisfied the assessment criteria of the first unit of competency. Very good. And you have actually done a good job. Okay, so as a result, I would like to give you the certificate of achievement for actually successfully completing all the assessment criteria of this learning outcome requirements under the unit of competency journalized transactions. Congratulations. Okay. Now please go now to the progress chart and the competence card and put a check on the first unit of competency. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Okay, now, are you done competency? Are you done training number 2? Okay, very good. So please come with me to the assessment area so I can interview you regarding what you have read. And for training number 1, you can please check your training activity matrix, look for your name, and I think you will be, you are instructed to watch a video for the second unit of competency. And then please proceed to the contextual, practical work areas. So, training number 2, let me just go ahead and check questions that I have to do. Okay. So how did you find the CPLM? Was it very thorough and complete? Okay, very good. So here's my question now. What is the importance of the generally accepted accounting principles? Okay, very good. And could you please explain the accounting equation? Okay, very good.
where do you base your transaction on when you journalize the transactions to the journal, general journal? Okay, very good. Now, as I review your answers to your questions, actually you were able to answer questions 1 and 2 perfectly well. However, for question number 3, I think you missed something that is very important. So, don't worry, because I will be giving you a metric competent, and please don't take this to mean that you failed for this. However, you are actually given a chance to review again, so that when you are being reassessed, then I'm sure you will be able to answer it correctly. Okay? So, please check again. Oh, please go back to the practical picture. So,
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so training number 2, are you done with the video? Okay, good. So can I ask you to please mentor training number 1? Please come with me to the practical work area. So training number 1, this is training number 2, and he will be mentoring you for the same unit of competency, because he has already experience working as an accounting staff. So can you still use the CBLM, and if you have questions, you can ask training number 2, and then after that, I will go ahead and assess it, okay? 30 minutes, I will give you 30 minutes. Okay, so I think time's up. Thank you very much. Training number 2, you can actually wait at the here, and let me just go ahead and give training number 2 a written, very short written exam. Okay, you can see it here, training number 2. So this is a very short written exam for the same unit of competency. 30 minutes is all you need to finish the exam. Okay, the time's up. Just review your answers. Okay, a moment. Okay, after reviewing your result of your exam, training number 2, I would like to congratulate you. Job well done. You were actually able to answer question number 3 correctly. Congratulations. So, please accept the certificate of achievement for completing the first unit of competency. Okay, very good. And you can go to the progress chart and the achievement chart so you can check your achievements. Thank you very much. Okay. So assuming sir, okay, so I would like to congratulate everyone for finally completing all the units of competency for this qualification. And I would like to congratulate you also for doing a good job. So that means that you have already checked all the units of competency. That means you are now ready and competent to take the assessment for national certification. So we will file an application for the assessment,
And I have here the application form. So please read the instructions carefully and fill out the blanks carefully and legibly. And in the second page, you will see the admission slip. This is the slip that we will give back to you so that when you take the assessment, you can show this so that the assessor can actually let you in for the assessment. So I will give you 30 minutes to fill this up. Okay, thank you very much. So we will forward this to the assessment center. And just a reminder, when you take the assessment, please don't forget to bring your, of course, your admission slip and your passport size ID with a white background and with you on the photo wearing something with a collar, okay? Also, please don't forget to bring 500 pesos for the assessment fee. And don't forget also to bring your materials, like ball pens, erasers, calculators, and sharpeners. Okay? So we will be calling you, we will be updating you for the response of the assessment center, and we will inform you as to the final date of the assessment. Okay, so please check our group chat or please keep your lines open. Okay, so again, thank you very much for your hard work, and I'm sure you can actually, pass the assessment because of your hard work. Thank you and good luck.